I'm going to show you the purl stitch. The purl stitch, the working strand should be in the front, as opposed to when you're doing the knit stitch, it's in the back. And so the strand is in the front. For an English or a throwing person doing the purl stitch, you would go on this side of the stitch, wrap it around this way, and then it's a down and back motion. So in here, around, and if it's, you notice it's counterclockwise if I'm purling, and I'm bringing the stitch to the back because I'm about to do a knit stitch instead of a purl. And then when I do a knit stitch, I go on this side. I still am wrapping counterclockwise around that way. And okay, and then if I purl, I have to bring the strand to the front and go around. Making sure that the strand's in the front for the purl or in the back for the knit is very key, because if it's in the front and I go to knit without changing the strand to the back, if you'll notice, what I'm going to get is this yarn over here kind of thing. What that does is makes holes in your work. So it's very important that you, if you're in the middle of the row, like I was just here, that you strand is in the front for the purl and in the back, and you do it between the needles. So bringing it to the back if I want to knit. You know, if you're doing the same thing over and over, it stays in position if I'm knitting, knitting, knitting. But it's when I'm going to the purl that I have to get it to the front and then purl. Now, I'll show you the purl with the continental style purl. That is not my native style, so there's probably other videos that are better. But if you're purling, you poke in the same place and you're holding the strand with the left hand and making the stitch. So there's no, I actually do what's more of like a Norwegian purl if I'm going to do it with continental. But as you can see, I'd have to get going at it to make this a flowing kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with knitting continental. Many people call it faster. It's just that it's not my native style. And my stitches, whether I knit or I purl, they are all leaning where the front leg is closer to the tip of my needle than the back leg. If I were to knit into the back leg like this, well, let's get the strand in the back first. If I were to knit in what's called knitting through the back of the loop, when I do that, that actually will change, and this stitch here will now be mounted, which would be backwards for me. And the only reason I would be doing that is because I wanted to deliberately twist the legs of the stitch. So anyway, back to just the basic purl. Purl, go in here, around, like that, and then down and back. Thank you.